Hello, welcome to Double9Radio. How are you today? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. How are you today? How you doing? Lekia, that's you.
Oh, is that me? Sorry. As you were talking to your audience, it's like, you can't be saying good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
I know. The reason I say that, because we have audiences around the world, isn't it? So I need to appreciate all my listeners around the world, because it could be morning.
I'm so sorry.
It could be morning. It could be afternoon.
I thought you were talking directly just to me for now.
No.
And then the audience would be listening in. But anyway, yes, I'm fine. Yes, so to your audience too, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Good day.
Good day. Exactly. Welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you on the show today. I am really excited to actually have you on the show because I love what you're doing. I admire what you're doing, and I thought, what better way to help promote and bring this message to a lot of people out there as well. I want to say a big thank you for taking time out to come on the show today. I really appreciate that.
Thank you very much for having me. As I said, I was just about to have dinner, so it's a big sacrifice on my part right now.
Oh, no. We moved away. We stopped her from having dinner, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. She made a sacrifice for us and skipped dinner and to come on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure we're as interactive as much as we can today because we want to be appreciative of our sacrifice today.
Yes.
Again, thank you very much for skipping dinner. I wonder what dinner was. Oh, no, it's lockdown. I can't really come to yours now because I was going to say I was going to come and share the dinner after the show. But I can't really come to you. Oh, this is not good. But anyway, maybe we can, have a virtual dinner at some time. You never know.
Yeah, maybe, because I'll do all the eating.
You do all the eating. Fantastic. Again, thank you for coming on the show. But, before we get too excited, or I get too excited, because I'm always excited when I have an amazing guest on the show, can you tell us who do we have on the show today?
Wow, that's such a tricky question.
No, I just want to know who we have on the show. I want to know, what's your name?
Well, my name is Lekia.
Okay.
And it's the Nigerian name that most people don't know. That is a Nigerian name. It just means safe journey. So, when you're born, your life is a journey and your parents are wishing that you have a safe one. I'm just hoping that, my journey is safe.
Yes. I'm sure it's amazingly safe. It's been safe so far, I think. Except you skipped dinner.
One thing I've realized is that when you're brave enough and courageous enough to take risks, then your journey actually becomes interesting, and it's just trusting as well. So I'm just beginning to learn that. So yes, it's becoming interesting and good actually. So yeah, happy to be here. Who am I? I am just this person that is passionate about inequality. I hate injustice. I try as much as possible in every little way to, call out injustice. I'm a mother of one teenager. I have a lovely big family, 6 brothers. I don't know.
Wow, do you say you have six brothers?
Yes, I have got 6 brothers. My mom had 7 children.
Wow, 6 brothers. I didn't want to imagine how protective they were when you were growing up.
Oh yeah, actually I'm older than 5 of them, but yeah, they were still very protective, and even now because they're all taller and bigger than me now, they are very protective. I'm very, very fortunate to have them as brothers. I really am.
Fantastic. I mean, while you're describing yourself now, you mentioned that you like speaking out and bringing light to certain topics within the society.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, which is a very good thing because not a lot of people, because most people, within our society, within our community, or maybe even other communities would come across or experience certain things and not really give a voice to it, really. And I love that you've actually taken that, what you've seen and your cause, and you've made inroads and actually made a lot of people pay attention. I mean, you've been on ITV, you've been on BBC, you've been on BBC Extra, and now you are on Double9Radio. That's amazing.
I'm on Double9.
You're Double9Radio.
I feel so honored. But yeah, to be honest, why is it Double9. I was actually thinking about it. There must be a story.
There is a story, but I think I'll tell you that offline because I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. You know, I want to keep this mystery. I want to keep this mystery out there.
Okay. So I'll be privy to the information before the rest of your audience.
Yes, maybe. See,
about privilege.
Exactly. You know, I'm the one that's privileged to actually have this, royalty on the show today. You know, this is African royalty we have on the show. You know, we have on the show. So, I mean, Double9, as your host tonight, is happy to have you on Double9Radio, and I'm glad. So, okay, you've given us a bit of an insight of who Lekia is. I mean, your name again means safe journey, which is quite amazing. I never knew it was a Nigerian name. I actually thought it was some French name. You know, I was going to start speaking bonjour, ça va, you know. But it's good to know.
And I would have just said, je ne sais pas comprendre. No, I don't know.
I don't know as well. I just said, okay. But yeah, but fantastic.
D'accord. Yeah,
oui, exactly. Okay, let's talk about, Project Embrace, which is your baby, which is something you started off. But for who don't, one of my listeners who've never heard of it or who don't know what Project Embrace is, what would you say or how would you describe that to them?
Okay, let's see. How long have we got?
And we have a lot of time for royalty, like here on the show this evening.
I'm going to relax then because sometimes I try to see if I could just put it in a few sentences and I always find that really tricky. But I'll have a go. So Project Embrace is basically, it's a platform that I formed to inspire particularly young girls of African descent or African heritage to embrace their hair and by extension embrace themselves. So, and I did that because for me, I saw hair discrimination as the last bastion of discrimination. It's like we talk about all sorts of other kind of discrimination. And at the time that I formed it in 2008, 2009, people weren't really talking about it. We just accepted that our hair was being discriminated against and we tried to do things to fit in. But for me, I felt it wasn't the right way to approach anti-discrimination, for example. And I knew that it does have psychological effects.
Yes.
Because people say, oh, I have a bad hair day, and you feel bad about it. But for black people, we were, in a sense, born with a bad hair day. So we don't have bad hair day, we have bad hair full stop. And that, we can't deny that will not have an impact on our self-esteem, especially if you're living among people who are seen to have the good kind of hair. So, and then that's where that vocabulary, good hair, bad hair, came on. But what really inspired me to start it was my daughter, when I had my daughter, because I had already been on a journey of self-love. I had gone through a time where I was feeling really inadequate about myself, feeling like, I wasn't making anything work. And somehow I got to turn that around. And just started learning to love myself, embrace who I am, stop feeling like, oh, my nose should be different, my body shape should be this, and I should look this way, and trying to do that, and I think that's a very powerful thing when, in a sense, I don't know if I can say, but you stick your middle finger up to...
Yeah, I know what you mean,
says, and just do you, basically. So this was way back around 2020 years ago. So anyway, I had my daughter, and I realized that, and so when I had her, I was very conscious of the sort of images that she was seeing and what was creating her, what was in her reality. I was very conscious of the kind of TV she was watching because I didn't want anything to make her feel like she was less than. So, most of the time, back then it was DVDs. Most of the time, DVDs. I wouldn't put children's commercial TV because there's so many adverts, and there's not one advert at the time you will see with a black child. So I knew that this was telling her that this is the right way to look, and that sort of socialization starts before children can talk, before they can walk. Even. So, I knew a little bit of psychology to understand that. So I really wanted to bombard her with images that tell her that she's good and that she's enough. but I noticed that even with that, she started having the idea that to have straight hair was preferable because at 3, most 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds are not really shy. They don't really have enough societal knowledge to be shy. So we go out and, we'll be sitting at the bus stop or we'll be in the library or the museum, and she will compliment people's hair. And all the black women she complimented all had straight hair. They either had a weave or a wig or, chemically straightened hair. And to me, I felt, that was a sign. If I didn't nip it in the bud, she would grow up one day asking me to change her hair, maybe as early as 7, which has actually happened. One of my nieces said, she really wished she had straight hair. She wants to straighten her hair at 7 years old.
7 years old, so, wow.
Yes, it happens even earlier. Ever since starting Project Embrace, I've had women tell me their children, once they start nursery school, their class. So anyway, before I over-digress, so I thought, with everything that I do, how come she still has that idea that it's preferable to have straight hair? And it occurred to me that it's everything outside of the home telling her this one message. It's just one-sided message. As the one of my favorite novelists, Chimamanda Adichie, said, the dangers of a single story. So there was a single story of beauty that was put out there. So once she steps out of the safety of her home, all the messages that she's being bombarded with is that it's preferable to have the hair of a white woman, basically. So I thought, what can I do to influence even the outside images? So I thought, okay, I'm a journalist, I'm going to, get on my laptop and write an open letter and put it in The Guardian, a paper that I respect, and write an open letter to advertisers and brands and to tell them how dangerous it is to have a one-sided message like that and how they need to embrace diversity in their imagery and in their messaging. And so I finished it. And normally I always ask people, can you ever remember seeing an article like that? I know that's many years ago. And luckily, no one has lied. They've all said, no, they didn't, Because if anyone would have said yes, I'd say, how come? Because I never, ever submitted it. So,
wow.
So I didn't submit it because I just lost the confidence too. I didn't have the confidence. I just thought, no, they're not going to listen to me.
I think you still got to tell us more about that. Hopefully, through the show. Maybe even if you haven't submitted, maybe we can share more about that article.
That was written. Let me see, about 2008 or so. So I just didn't share. I think it's still on my laptop. But anyway, it now, because of that, the idea of the one-sided messaging around beauty and around acceptance was still niggling. And I was having my, I have a young child and I wanted her to feel included. I feel like she belonged to the society that she was born and she was living in. And I felt that TV and the media in general, advertising in particular, weren't doing it.
You're right.
So that's when I thought, okay, I'm going to do it myself.
Amazing.
I'm going to have a billboard campaign. If only I knew how challenging that was, I probably wouldn't have decided it, but I didn't know. It's just an idea that I had.
We'll get to that as well. I mean, that's quite an amazing story. And, again, it was something that was kind of possibly has had an effect on your daughter, where she thought, straightened hair was the only way to go. I mean, the funny thing is, the advert you mentioned, I was actually having a conversation with a young, individual today, a male, in this, a male, person, not a girl. So, and he mentioned something about, adverts. They seem to just portray, again, the one-sided story of beauty you mentioned. And because we have grown, I mean, I'm not trying to give away my age here. I'm still, young here, because we've grown through this, era of seeing the adverts on TV and the straightened hair, and subconsciously our mind has adopted that what they're showing us, that one-sided story, it is the one. But until when we have individuals like yourself who rise up and say, no, it's not that. the other side has to be told as well. Then people start waking up and start seeing. But the danger of what is happening or still happening is that this one-sided story is still being told. And this is why, again, I would say what you're doing is quite amazing. And I hope, it brings more light to this matter, that we can tell our own story as well. So people can, and the children can grow up and say, I'm beautiful. Because the psychological aspect you mentioned is a problem. Because it affects the self-esteem, which you rightly mentioned as well. And also the development of that child. Because he or she is going to feel, I'm not good enough because I don't look this certain way.
Yeah.
It's quite remarkable. But, I mean, again, I commend you for what you're doing with
Thank
this.
you so much. Thank you very much. Yeah, because, like you said, you rightly said, it's something that, we have internalized, myself, and it's impossible not to internalize that sort of messaging when you're growing up, because at 2, at 3, you don't know how to challenge different things, because you if you have not seen an alternative, how would you know about it? And so you get that idea, and by the time you get to 10, 11, 12, you feel that, oh, this is my preference, but it's not really a preference. It's just that it's just, or rather, it is a preference, yes, but it's because you haven't been shown
a different thing.
Anything else.
Yes.
And the thing is, it's not only the lack of representation, it's the misrepresentation as well. So when you do get to see Afro-textured hair, it's always in the context of negativity. So why would you want something negative? But as I say, it's not just hair itself, it's the whole essence of Africanness, anything that is related to Africa, whether you're a descendant of Caribbean origin or a descendant of African origin, and I mean African continent, it's seen as in a bad light, because Africanness is positioned in this negative way in so many other ways. And so that is why the one thing it is almost, no, not the one thing, but it's one of the things that actually places you as an African descendant, your hair. I mean, even in segregated America, people might be as light as or as pale as anything, but if their hair has a little curl in it, it removes them from being seen as a white person.
You're right.
It's the same thing in segregated South Africa as well. You are not seen as, but you might have dark skin, but if your hair is straight, then you're not African or African heritage. And as we see, so many people of Indian heritage who have quite very dark skin, but their hair is straight. So hair is so powerful in communicating. It's a way of nonverbal communication. Just
you're right.
It's a way of nonverbal communication. And when we go back in history, we know, I think it's general knowledge now that, hairstyles were used to communicate different things, different aspects of society, whether you're married, whether you're single, whether you're going for a ceremony, you're going for a wedding and all of that. But it's not just in African communities, it's in every other community.
In every community. I mean, it brings me to what you mentioned about misrepresentation. I actually did kind of like just a research, and I put in into Google, into a search engine, I should say, on professional hair. And the images that came up, for me, was like, oh my gosh, everything was a black woman's hair.
Yeah.
In a natural form of its own. But
when did you do this?
Today.
Today?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay. That means more work needs to be done.
More work needs to be done.
When I did my campaign, when my first billboard came out, 2017, that was one of the things that I said, that if you Google professional hair, you would see it will be filled with black women and their natural hair. And that was one of the reasons why our next campaign was about addressing hair discrimination in the workplace. And so the hashtag was Rip Up the Dress Code, where we're looking at how...
Yes, I remember that. That was 2019, I believe, or something, yeah.
Yeah, thanks. So it's a bit disheartening that even if you do it now, you get that result. It would probably be interesting if some of your listeners can Google it and let us know the results that they get now and just see,
Yes, I mean, listeners, be part of this research thing. if you're by a PC, just type in,
On
on professional hair and let us know what images come up as well. But, let's define what is natural hair. What is natural hair for anyone who's thinking, okay, is my hair natural? How would you define that?
I think for the natural hair community, natural hair is really defined as hair that has not been chemically treated.
Okay.
I think that's the simple answer. So because if you have a natural hair, but maybe you use to straighten it, it's still, in a way, seen as natural hair, even though, yes, you're breaking the bonds that make your hair curly, and so it's not really natural. But generally in the natural hair community, people don't really refer to that as not unnatural hair. And so unnatural hair is really the one that has been chemically treated to use chemicals to permanently change its curl structure. So because some people say, well, if you color your hair, is that natural? But in the context of what I am doing, I don't see, if you color your hair, I don't see that as not natural hair. I'm looking at natural hair in the context of, in a sense, how much of your curl pattern
still there, and still reflects.
Still there. Your natural curl pattern, the one that you were born with, is still there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about the need for a lot, the campaign, as you mentioned, to bring more light into the storytelling from the perspective of someone wearing natural hair. But, what other things, or, because you talked about discrimination, what type of discrimination and problems have women had to deal with and are still dealing with regards, wearing their natural hair?
It's almost everywhere. It's in the home, it's at school, it's at the workplace. These are the places where, you meet other people. Again, it's also in the media. When you're looking at different media and you're not seeing yourself, that is discrimination that you're facing, But to be more precise or specific, so say, for example, children in school, they're being told that, their hair is going against the school dress code.
Yeah,
but yet the school dress codes do not consider the fact that our hair looks and differently, so we can't keep it like Europeans will keep their hair. We have to treat it differently, so you can't keep it. And what they seem as extreme style is not extreme to us.
No.
I remember giving a talk once at a workplace, and I mentioned to them, I said, what you see as extreme hair, like if we do plait, whether it's two twists or two-strand twist or three-strand twist, whether we do cornrows or even with threads, it's not extreme to us because that's the way we can manage our hair, because our hair tangles very easily. So we can't just leave it out like that, on end, because to detangle will take long. But,
I love natural hair. I love natural hair. And I wonder why.
That's good. That's good.
I wonder why natural hair is perceived as uncivilized sometimes. I try and understand, like, because you see this wonderful hair, the way, the ones that's, properly taken care of, and it smells good, it looks good from afar, and you touch it, it's a bit squishy, and it has this lovely texture to it. So I wonder, why is it perceived as uncivilized?
I think it's just relating back to what I said earlier, that Africanness as a whole has been put in a negative light. So it doesn't matter what it is. So it's not just hair, it's our names, for example. We are changing our names. It's the way we speak and the way we sound. It's the food that we eat is being picked on. It's everything, so it's skin color as well. And, the shape of our nose, our lips, our body. So hair is just all part of it, because hair is part of the African, should I say, the African
culture.
I'm looking for a clever
African
word.
culture, yeah.
Yes, thank you. It's part of African culture, it's part of Africanness. So, like I said to some people once, I was having a meeting and I said, it's not that Afro-textured hair in itself is wrong, or it's not. No, it's just that it's what grows on black people's hair. If that grew on white people's hair, it would have a different connotation altogether. So it's the context,
It is.
It is.
It is.
Yeah. So It's just, I mean, let me just take it out a bit, maybe to use this as an analogy, maybe it would help people to understand. It's like, say, for example, in the criminal justice system, a black boy would commit a minor crime, for example, maybe steal sweets from the shop. He might be put in remand, he might put in prison. A white boy would do the same thing, of the same age, same build, same everything, and he would be given a slap on the wrist or given a warning. So it's not the crime in itself. It's the person that did it. Everybody's talking about the protest that happened at Capitol building. Yeah. And the complete different treatments, even though people went in and destroyed and rioted. They were not called rioters, they were called protesters because of who they were. So in the same vein, that's just the way it is for hair. It's because it is our hair, and that's why all of these derogatory terms are used. It needs to be tamed, it needs to be controlled, it is wild, it is difficult to manage. It is very, very rare that you find people easily attach positive adjectives to our hair.
You're right.
But you come to hair of Europeans, the first thing that comes to most people's mind is a positive adjective.
Yeah, you're right.
Positive things are used to describe it,
the subconsciousness,
not the difficulty that it presents. I'm sure it would be such a nuisance for your hair to keep coming on your face or going into your mouth, depending on the length of your hair. But it's never put as a negative thing. It's actually even turned to something nice and sexy. You know, you flick your hair away from your face.
Yeah, I know.
We have hair that doesn't even go in our face.
You know what I mean?
It's seen as negative.
It is.
So that's why. So yeah, that's why it is because of the context in which we find Afro-textured hair.
Yeah. I mean, you made a very a reference to South Africa I have been to South Africa, and you know, yes, and
I haven't even been to South Africa. Here I am totally, but anyway.
You know, and you come across ladies who adore the natural hair. You know, they love the natural hair. And they pride themselves in, you know, wearing the natural hair. But what the society seems to be changing is, like, the younger generation seems to be going away from that and much more going into straightening the hair, you know, wearing the hair in such a way that it looks, you know, totally different, like from natural hair, coloring, you know, relaxing and all that. But I ask myself this question, like, you know, as we said, you know, the story is always told from one side. You know, the media and the press, you know, do you think they have a significant role to play on the issue of presenting Afro-textured hair as being acceptable?
Sorry, was the question, does the media have a role?
Significant role.
The simple answer is yes. Of course they have a role. You know, media is just different mediums, isn't it? It's a medium to communicate.
Yeah.
So you are communicating something. So whether it's in children's storybooks, for example, you know, that's one medium. Television, and then within television you have films, you have adverts, you have drama. It's all, you know, putting that story. And it's interesting that you said, like, a friend's daughter got married, I think, a couple of years ago. She was like very young, like 22 or so. And she normally has her hair natural. But on the wedding day, she had this really thick, long, straight weave that I almost couldn't recognize her. Obviously, she had the wedding dress, so that had to be her.
Yeah.
And I thought, why wouldn't she wear her beautiful natural hair for her wedding? And even though we have started this conversation and we're talking about it and people will still advocate for natural hair, but deep down, they still see straight hair as beautiful. So let me put it this way. It's like you would hardly, I'm sure you will, but the percentage of people, black or white or Asian or Latino or anything, that would see straight hair as not beautiful is negligible. But the percentage of people that would see Afro hair as not beautiful is substantial. So even black people, we
ourselves, yes,
because we have not escaped the
slave
the
mentality
storytelling. We haven't. You know, how would we? How could we when we have been colonized, and it's our culture that has been colonized as well? So how could we escape it? So we haven't escaped it. So we too have been socialized just like the white person. Maybe it's a bit different because we are on the receiving end, but at the same time, as I said earlier, this happens at such a very young age. So, black girls are still playing with white dolls with straight hair, but how many white girls are playing with black dolls? So,
that's a good point you make. That it's one way traffic, not the other way.
Exactly. Yes, it's not. So you will expect to see these things, and it is people that make up the media. People with a particular mindset, so they're going to put it out there. They're going to put, if you don't know your story, because people quote and say, "Oh, until the lion tells its story, to be the
hunter." The hunters always tells it. Yes, I remember. Look at that with the African proverb. You see. I knew that.
But at the end of the day, who trained the mind of the lion? So sometimes, even if you give the lion the chance to tell the story, if he has been trained to tell the story of the hunter, that's the story he will tell.
Exactly. Wow. Another dimension. Wow.
So that is what many of us are doing. So we have to work on ourselves as well, so we don't continue the stories that are detrimental to us. And that is why we continue, even though we say, we champion, it's how I am, I'm proud of who I am, but we still see beauty in straight hair, and we don't see it as ridiculous to wear it. If we see a white woman with afro, it will look ridiculous to us because we're just not used to it.
Exactly.
Our mind hasn't been socialized to see that, because we are born as a plain slate, right? Nobody is born with an idea of beauty. Beauty is taught. So even beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It's not completely true. Because the eye of the beholder has to be trained.
Has to be influenced.
What culture, what part of the world you're in. So when your mind has been trained to see something as beautiful, that's what you will see. And if you look at all our top music stars today, our top politicians, our top business people who are black, what kind of hair do they have?
Straightened hair.
Majority of them is not the hair they were born with.
Yeah. I mean, one of our listeners just sent a message in. I think she went ahead and did one of what we asked her to do, what we asked for them to do, the research. And she come back and says, yes, I can see that, I think she's saying it's a 50-50. But no, actually not 50-50, 60-40. 60-40, she said. There's a 60% of more black women, shown as unprofessional hair, and some other minorities shown as unprofessional hair as well. So I think we'll still have more of the black women on that. Okay, maybe.
We still have a lot of work to do, because
we do.
How does that hair look? Because even if they say it's unprofessional, is it really unprofessional?
It's not. The one I saw wasn't unprofessional, so I didn't see that as unprofessional.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. So it's not even just the fact that they are putting black women there, but what kind of hair do they have? And I'm sorry to say, I don't want to disrespect anyone, but someone said, I saw this on Instagram, where someone put the picture of Boris Johnson, who is the Prime Minister of the UK, and a picture of a black man who had his hair nicely cut and faded and the edges all nicely done, and said which hair is unprofessional.
Oh, okay. I mean, they can make up their mind on that one,
Yes, exactly. Make up your mind. But we know how Boris Johnson has just got this wind-whipped hair all over the place. Nobody complains about his hair. And I'm not saying that anybody should, but we present ourselves and then our hair is a problem, whichever way it is.
Fantastic.
Even when we have taken the pain to look after it. It's like once I was walking down a street in London, and I'll say where it was. It was in Peckham, so it's a black area. And, the women that were looking for customers to have their hair done said, "Oh, won't you do your hair?" I said, "My hair's already done." She looked at her colleague, and just burst out laughing. I was with my daughter at the time. She just burst out laughing, like, how could my hair be done? But it was.
It was, because that's the natural way.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So,
I want to talk about your slogan, "I am enough." I think that's so powerful. I am enough. Tell us.
I have to keep telling myself that.
What was the inspiration behind it? How did you come up with that? I am enough, because it says power. It says I'm content.
You are saying it with power.
Because I have to, because when I saw that, when we're doing our research on the fantastic guest on the show today, we came across that slogan, I am enough. And I'm saying to myself, I am adopting that because I am enough. Because it's just three words there, I am enough. But it's such powerful words. But I want to know, what inspired you to come up with that?
Yeah, it's just as I said earlier, I wanted my daughter to know that she's enough. From her hair to her toes, she's okay. I just want people to understand you're okay. You don't, and it's I think it goes beyond just how you look, because when I was going through the process of relearning to love myself, I did a course where part of my university course we had to look at paintings from like 18th and 19th century, and these women were on the bigger side, but the narrative around them was very positive, and I just going through the ages, and you just see how the idea of beauty changes anyway. So sometimes it just depends on which area, which era you're born in. And then you'll be seen as a champion. So I said, why should the way I feel about myself be dependent on what other people say or what time I was born? No, I am beautiful. Full stop. I am okay. Full stop. And it's just that, just feeling like you're enough. You don't need
any outside endorsements to say.
Yes, you don't need it. You don't need it. We have to endorse ourselves first. And if it's even if it's when you're in doubt and you want to do something, just remind yourself that I'm enough. I can do this.
Amazing.
Many times in the campaign when I wanted to give up, I said, Lekia, you're enough. Everything you need to get this campaign going, you have it. It's all there. You are enough.
You are enough.
I am enough. I wake up in the morning and I'm feeling a little bit shaky. I say, I'm enough. So if I'm enough, then why not step forward? If I don't need to change my hair, change my nose, change my skin tone, if I'm enough, then why am I doing that?
I mean, that's such a powerful word. I think that should be engraved in people's minds, in people's heads. Because you mentioned something about skin tone there. A lot of people feel insecure of how they look. They feel insecure about their hair. They feel insecure about what they have. But once you know you're enough, I am enough, then you'll be content. On that note, we're going to take a quick break.
Very powerful.
Yes. On that, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be back on the other side to find out more with our fantastic guest, Lekia, the founder of Project Embrace. Stay locked on, stay locked in. Do tell a friend to tell a friend. Your host, Double9, on Double9Radio. Hello, welcome back to Double9Radio. It's your one and only host, Double9, with a fantastic guest tonight, Lekia, the founder of Project Embrace. We've been talking a lot about Project Embrace and why she started Project Embrace. Project Embrace is here to promote the natural hair. You are enough. That is the great slogan. I can't stop saying that. It's amazing. I've actually adopted that as well, because you are enough. You are enough. Because once you know that, any outside influences would never change your mindset. You have to have the right mindset and look away from the outside noise to ensure you focus on yourself and know that your beauty is enough. You don't need to change your skin tone, or even maybe not wear, some all those wigs and stuff. But I don't know. Maybe you like it. I don't know. But maybe our Lekia can shed more light as well. Lekia, I want to say a big thank you again for coming on the show. I really appreciate you taking time out this evening.
Thanks very, very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're most welcome. I mean, just before the break, we're talking about your slogan, I am enough. Again, I can't stop saying, I think I'm going to be saying that all night tonight, because
keep saying it to yourself.
It is a powerful thing. It is it's like a positive affirmation, I am enough.
Yeah.
I am enough. Do you know what I mean? Because I think it's very important. And, I don't want to open another can of worms, because you talked about that skin tone thing. I think maybe I will bring you on at some point with a panel to talk about that skin tone thing. Because that, for me, I think there's a problem there. But that's another topic for another day.
Yeah. We'll leave that for another day. I'm at your service, sir.
Fantastic.
So anytime you need my services, just let me know.
I mean, My listeners, you heard that. She said it. We're gonna,
Oh dear.
we're gonna have to bring her back at some point. Okay, self-expression is part of. It's part of what we're talking about today. I don't even want to define. I want to get your definition of what you think self-expression is.
I think it's self-explanatory. Self-expression is a way that you, I think you show the outside world, and in a way yourself, but mainly the outside world, who you are and what you stand for. You're expressing your ideals, the way you think. And it's mostly, and I'll say it's mostly for the outside world, because in your mind what you are, who you are, and what you think. But I think it's human nature to want to express that, to want to show it. So we express it in the way that what we say, in the places that we go to, and in the way that we choose to dress ourselves. What we do on the outside comes from the inside. So people say beauty, is just a surface thing. It's not.
No.
Because how you, and I use this in inverted commas, design yourself is really how you think of yourself. So they're not separated. And because again, people say, this is another thing that it's kind of a bit controversial when I say, we judge the book by the cover. The book will always be judged by the cover. So it's kind of redundant saying don't judge the book by the cover. And I say kind of, because yes, you can make a mistake and look at the book of the cover, the cover of a book, and think, oh, this is, or just look at someone and make judgments that are completely wrong, or make a little bit wrong. Or you might miss out on, maybe even a good relationship, whether it's at work, at school, personal, because you are judging how someone looks. But at the same time, it tells us something. And I think we just need to be a little bit more open-minded as to what people are saying with their looks. So, now that most people in the UK are in lockdown, if not everyone in lockdown, we are dressed in a different way. When we have to step out, we're dressed in a different way, because that's just what, that's what we do. So we have always been judging the book by the cover from time. Exactly. Animals do the same thing. They will look at you or look at each other, and they're making judgments. Because when you meet someone, in the first few seconds, you've made, we make a judgment as to who they are. It's like I tell people, like if you have a book, if you go into a library, you look at the cover of the book to know, is this for children? Or is this for teenagers? Or is this for adults? Yeah. Is this fiction, non-fiction? Is this a chemistry textbook or a physics textbook or a sociology textbook? The cover tells you something, but it doesn't tell you everything.
No.
You want to buy a novel, you think, you look at the cover, will this be interesting? Then you go to the back, you read the blurb. It's all part of it. And then you decide, okay, maybe I'll delve in and see. You might be disappointed, you may not be.
Yeah.
And that's why I said we have to be open-minded. But I think I'm digressing now. What was this?
No, you're not. Because I love the way you actually handle the question.
Oh,
because,
God, I'm always going off tangent.
No, you did not. You did not. I mean, you still stayed on, but you just gave a bit more context to it. Because if we look at it, self-expression, look at it from the natural hair point of view, which is fantastic. So the Africanism or the African image that is already being implanted in individuals, that when you see someone with a natural hair, that means you judge them. But you fail to recognize that it's a form of self-expression. It's a form of that individual expressing themselves as an African or as a black person. I don't want to conform, or he or she doesn't want to conform to what the media is saying, that this is the right way or this is the beautiful way.
Yeah.
I am enough. See your slogan.
Yeah, I'm enough.
I am enough. So I want to express myself. I want to have a form of self-expression without you or without me thinking, I'm going to be judged.
And that's why we have to keep telling this story about hair discrimination, so that people realize, because a lot of it is also done unconsciously, an organization called Perception Institute did a survey or research on the perception of natural hair, and they found out that, while a large percent of white people thought that natural hair didn't look good or wasn't, beautiful, also a significant percentage of black people felt the same way too, even those that had natural hair, So some people have just accepted, okay, yeah, I know this hair is not really that good, but it's mine, and so they will, But going back to what you talked about self-expression, for me, when I decided to go natural, was about self-expression.
Exactly.
It wasn't about the health of my hair, because in back then I still felt my hair was healthy, even though once your hair is relaxed, it's not healthy. It's been damaged.
Yes.
It's just that we leave the damaged look, and we do other things to make it look like it's not damaged, but it is damaged because we are breaking down something to make it fall.
Exactly.
So anyway, but the reason why I did it was because I wanted to express myself. I said, as an African woman, this is my hair. Why do I have to change my hair to look like yours to be acceptable when you don't do it the other way around? Why?
You're very right.
I was just asking myself these questions, and the answers I kept coming up with was because of racism. Because of racism.
But I want to look at that.
Ideas.
Yeah, you're right.
So
I want to look at that from a different point of view. I agree. Yes, the racism is there, but also you gave an example when you went to Peckham, and you were your daughter, and you were in the market, and someone came across you and said, sister, do you want to have your hair done? And you said, my hair is already done. You're self-expressing yourself at that point, and the person then laughed and judged you and said, how can you say that hair is done? Again, yes, with that's ignorance. But where did that ignorance come from? From those one-sided story to say, okay, no, that is not right. So that person has the mind influence in such a way that they think if you don't have an attachment or your hair is not straightened, that means it's not beautiful.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, yes, we know the racism is there, but also within our society, we need to even change that mindset as well.
Yeah, we do. But the thing is, it's internalized racism. So we have been socialized the same way, or as other people will put it, it's a colonial mentality. This is real. If you just think of a 2-year-old, for example, seeing all the cartoons that she sees, or he sees, all the adverts, all the stories, and then even the adults that are her skin color all have straight hair. What's she gonna feel? And the reason why that is because of racism. Racism is just a ideology of hierarchy where Eurocentrism is placed on top. And then everything else falls below it. So you're living in a society where that is in practice, and you're young. You can't question it. You're gonna absorb it.
Yes.
People laugh. A lot of black people laugh and say, "Come on, Lekia, let's just be honest. Our hair is difficult. Our hair is not that nice." Or they may not say this. They say, "Oh, look at her hair, long and flowing. Oh, so beautiful." We've adopted it for so many years. It's become a normal way of thinking. It's become normalized to see black women with Indian, Brazilian, Cambodian, every other kind of hair apart from theirs. But yet we don't expect to see Brazilian women, Indian women, Venezuelan women, wherever they're other parts of the world.
Where Afro.
No, we don't, because it's, the way you think. Thinking is a habit. We have a habit of thinking. And so we are now in the habit of thinking along those Eurocentric lines. And so that's why it would take time. And this has been going on for centuries, not 2 years, not 5 years, not 10, not even 20, not 50. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years it's been going on.
Amazing.
And so when you become used to something, it's so difficult to break from it.
It is.
It's like if you're used to not exercising, it's so difficult to break from it. And if you're used to exercising, it's so difficult to stop.
It is. It's a challenge.
To change. Yeah, there's always an inertia to change. And to change our way of thinking would take a lot of work and would take time.
It would.
So
it would.
That's why.
Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, I'm saying that's why we express ourselves the way that we express ourselves, and we find reasons as to why we express ourselves in that way, because it comes from the way we think, and the way we think is influenced by the society that we grew up in, and the society we grew up in, perpetrates racism or racial hierarchy.
It does. It does. I mean, I think the watchword for me today on this, on having you on here, I am enough. My self-expression. I am enough. Express yourself without any judgment. Without you paying attention to any judgment, and know that you're enough. I mean, not going off topic. I want to know. I mean, you mentioned about Brazilian hair, Colombian hair, whatever hair. What is bone straight hair? What is that? I've been hearing that a lot.
Yeah, bone straight. I think it's hair that I think is really, really, really straight. It's like like if you see a bone straight is just an expression that people have been using to describe when something is really straight, and then we just now use it for hair. So, like say for example, people that have people that generally have naturally bone straight hair is like the Chinese people, for example.
Right. Yeah. Okay, that's what that is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's just what it is. That hair that's really, really straight. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that clarity. Now, I've learned something again this evening, although it might be some jungle or junk, education there, but it's okay. Okay. I mean,
it's good to know.
It's good to know. Eddie, on the show, you mentioned about some challenges, you encountered in trying to get Project Embrace, going and, trying to get as much media attention as possible. I mean, can you tell us more about those challenges you encountered? When you're promoting the vision for Project Embrace.
Yeah, so, it wasn't something that the society as a whole was used to seeing. And when I mean society as a whole, I'm talking about, individuals and, organizations, and both black and white organizations. So first on the individual level, I did get a lot of, women, because the women talking to me at the time were black women. I didn't think white women would probably, if they thought it, they wouldn't say it, that sort of thing. But black women were saying, oh, I'm creating a problem where there's no problem. I'm trying to police the way that black women are wearing their hair. And I said, I'm not policing it. It's the society that's policing you, telling you can't wear your natural hair. And I'm not saying that people can't wear any kind of hair that they want to. But even if I say it, I don't even have the power to implement it. But the people that are policing are the people that have the power to make you suffer for not towing the line, for example. So, you wouldn't hear of a woman wearing a straight weave being told that she can't work or she can't, she can't come to work with this kind of hair, or told she doesn't look professional. But she changed to her natural hair, she'll be told the same thing. So I'm just saying that it's wrong to say that. That we should have we never really had the choice to wear our hair. And even people say, oh, it's always a choice, You've never had a fair choice. Because if you've been told from the moment that you were born that this is the best way to be, then is it a proper choice? Is it a real choice? But if you are shown equally positive images that images of your own kind of hair and everything else and other people, then we'll say, okay, that's the choice, you can make the choice. And I'm just wondering how many people will make a choice to use relaxer or AKA liquid fire. I call it liquid fire on your hair.
Okay.
Because that thing burns. That thing burns. And if you have sensitive scalp like I had, it's horrible. But again, I didn't think I had a choice. I didn't think there was any other way to be as a woman or as a black woman.
Yeah.
And so I didn't until I started questioning why I was doing it. And that was because I read certain books. And I was like, which was now making me think differently, going outside of my comfort zone of thinking. So it's not. So the thing is, the challenge was the fact that a lot of people were still thinking in that way of straight hair is beautiful. And I'm here coming to tell them you can actually wear your hair differently. They didn't want to accept that. And I had people, saying some really horrible things about what I was doing. And when I say people, I mean black women. Were saying horrible things about what I was doing. But I was so determined that because I knew about the power of image. You know, image creates our reality.
It does.
And I knew that if we saw more of our kind of hair in a positive way, we would think differently. And so I didn't really take it personal. And I did take the time to address some of the, you know, the messages I was getting, mainly through social media.
Yeah.
But also, I was getting messages of people saying, thank you for what you're doing.
Amazing.
There's two particularly that came to mind. Was one young, she was 20 at the time.
Yeah.
And she was at university. And I could imagine her crying while she was writing that message. It was really long. She sent me a message saying, thank you so much for addressing this. No one seems to be thinking of this. And this was way back in 2009, 2010. Nobody is talking about this. But I feel like nobody sees me because as a black woman, no one sees my beauty. I mean, university and all my friends who are either white or much lighter skinned get attention. I get no attention, you know. And I really want to stop wearing other people's hair. But she was studying psychology, so you know, her mind was beginning to be expanded.
Yeah.
And she was like, I don't want to do this, but nobody sees me. And the only time that she's being seen is when she has that. But then it's still, you know, very negligible. So she was. Thank you so much for addressing this.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing.
And then another woman, she's a white woman, she has a mixed race child, and she, you know, sent me information saying thank you so much. And again, I hadn't done the posters, so later I sent her the posters so that her daughter can see it. She said her daughter has, you know, beautiful, thick, curly hair, really thick and big, and almost every time she meets either family from the white side, family or friends, they make negative comments about her hair.
Amazing.
And one particular person said, her friend said, oh, isn't she so beautiful? There's such a shame about her hair.
Can you imagine
right
that?
in front of the little girl. She was only 7. And her mum told her off, but it was too late. The girl had heard it, and she was beginning to cry. And so the mum, you know, had to tell her things. And so she showed her my page and everything to make her feel good about herself.
Amazing.
So,
Amazing.
So those were the main challenges.
Yeah.
And obviously, if I'm going to establishments to say, look, because obviously this cost money and I needed support, I needed, you know, commercial support from corporate organizations.
Yeah.
How would they support it when I'm not even getting the support from my community?
I know.
The support I was getting from the community was you know, wasn't that much. It has increased, and now I'm getting so much support, and I'm really grateful for the people that were there from the very beginning, from the get-go. But yeah, I think it's changing now because of all the conversation around Black Lives Matter.
Amazing.
It's changing now. People are beginning to realize that there are different forms of discrimination, and hair discrimination is
one of
actually,
them.
because hair is very powerful. Yeah, hair discrimination is powerful, is one of them, and it's actually very powerful. It can affect your self-esteem, both male and female. So the support is increasing. I need more, but I'm really confident.
I'm sure my listeners here will be paying attention to ensure that support you and, you know, get participating in this campaign to bring more light into this matter of hair discrimination. Okay, I want to talk about the Afro Visibility campaign. Is this, you know, this is more of you trying to, showcase, you know, the need to celebrate wearing natural hair?
Yeah, so that's basically, so is making Afro more visible as a positive way of having hair. So, you know, it's open auditions because my idea is that we are all beautiful, we are all enough. So I don't use any modeling agency or anything like that. It's you know, everyday women, you know, women from all walks of life, from all backgrounds. As long as you have, you know, Afro-textured hair or curly hair, you are free to come in.
Anyone can join, yes.
Yeah, anyone can join. So yeah, we have open auditions, and the very first audition we had about 56 people turned up. The next one we had 400, and the next one we had 1,000 plus.
Wow.
This year we can't do it live, so it has been through online. Basically.
Online, yeah.
We had a virtual. Yeah, and our final audition process will be on the 24th of February. So I will send you details so that you can share that.
100%.
We're inviting people. Yeah, we're going to have a panel of judges, and we're going to choose. We have 15 finalists. We're going to choose the 6 women that will be on the billboards for this year.
Amazing.
So we're going to have a panel of judges who would help us decide.
Listeners,
we wish we could put everyone, but obviously we don't have the space to put everyone.
Yeah. So I mean, if you want to be on a billboard, you know, she said it now. She's going to send us the details. We shall be sharing it on our Instagram page, on our social media page
people
to promote.
Share it. People can talk about it. People can come and witness the judging process. People can follow us on social media. That would really, really help. That would be good. And share the experiences with us as well. We like to, in a sense, collect people's experiences so we can say, look, this is why we need this. This is why we need this.
Okay.
But during the audition process, people share lots and lots of interesting stories, and many of them break my heart when I hear the stories. So this is what gives me the energy to keep going, to keep putting it across, because, it's still highly, the story is still very much one-sided. And we have to create a balance. Because, again, as I said, it's not only black people that need to see black women in their own natural hair. Everybody has to see that.
Everybody, yes. Yeah. Okay, let's go to the questions that have come in. I'm going to be reading some of the questions. If I don't read your question, it's nothing personal. It's just because we might have already answered the question. So I'll go to the first one. We have Grace from Barking says, how long have you been natural, and why did you choose to go natural? You know, I think she already answered this, but I will just read it again.
Yeah. So quickly, so we can go through as many as possible. I've been natural for 20 years now. This year will make it 21 years.
Wow.
And I went natural, as I said earlier, because I wanted to express myself as a black woman. I wanted to express self-love. So self-love as a black woman. So I felt if I was not going to change my nose, change my lips, change my skin color, why would I change my hair? And then that made me think, you know what? No, I'm not changing my hair anymore. I'm embracing my hair, and everyone else has to embrace me. And so that's why the name is Project Embrace, because it's all about embracing who we are, embracing our true, authentic self.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, I'll take another question from Cassie in Brighton. Cassie says, has going natural impacted other areas of your life, like your health or fitness or your consciousness? If so...
Oh, most definitely. Thanks, Cassie, for that question. Yes. Because the thing is, when you decide to go natural, so for me, I decided to go natural from like I said, what you do on your outside is a reflection of what is inside. So inside, I had already started chanting, I'm enough. So I wanted to show that I'm enough. But there will be days where I feel a bit wobbly, and just having taken that step to go natural gave me the courage and the boldness to do other things that I probably would never have felt I could do. It showed me that, certain things are possible. Certain things that you found not possible are possible. It really gave me the courage to be myself. And, it gave me the courage to shun outside influences. So, and also, when you are on a journey of accepting yourself and loving yourself, then you tend to want to gravitate towards doing things that are loving to you. You want to eat better, you want to exercise, also your relationships, whether it's even with your family, with, spouse, with workers, changes. There's very little room for allowing for people to treat you badly. And I noticed that in my relationship, that was one of the areas that there was a really quick, fast, marked change. That because I was treating myself like, I'm enough, I'm good enough.
Yes.
So I was less tolerant of people treating me like I wasn't enough. So it definitely made an impact in all areas of my life.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, another one. Tuli from Coventry. What do you love most about your natural hair? Or about being natural?
What I love most. That's so tricky because I love everything. I love the fact that, I think the main thing actually, now I'm thinking of it, is I love the fact that I've just discovered new things about my hair, because when I went natural, there was no YouTube, channels to show you what to do. So it was really a journey of self-discovery, and also discovering the characteristic of my hair. And it's just like in the cold, it really keeps your head warm. And actually in the heat, it keeps your head cool. And so I did some research as to how that happens, and it's a fact because of the curly nature of the hair and the ability to shrink.
Right.
It traps air in, it traps air in between, and so that air is able to either keep your head cool or keep your head warm, just
amazing.
like the way a thermos flask works. So I really love that about my hair.
Fantastic.
And the fact you could just do so many styles. The fact that you put it in braids or twist and it just stays there, and that it grows up, which is very convenient. The fact that your hair grows up is very convenient as well. So
okay.
I love that.
Another question. Yenny from Peckham says, what advice would you give someone who's contemplating going natural or becoming discouraged with their natural journey?
Right. Did you say her name was Yemi?
Yenny.
Right, Yemi. I know the feeling. First, let me tell you, it would take a while, so be patient. It took me 2 years to love my hair. Even though I was natural, I didn't like the look. Because for me, it was so important for me to express myself as a Black African woman living in this country. For me, that was my own way of standing up against racism. And it was such a simple but powerful way. Just the way you appear, you're telling them, no, I don't have to look like you. No, I do not have to conform to what you're trying to force me to do. Because in the early days, women were forced to have to change their hair, and they forced it through ways of denying you a livelihood, for example. I give a quick example of a friend. She actually was one of the ladies that came to audition for my for the Afro-Visibility campaign.
Yeah.
And it was summer holidays at university. Her dad gave her a note to go to his friend's organization, a law firm, where she could work. So, she was going to work for the summer. She had her hair in a puff, Afro puff. And he's a Nigerian guy. He said to her, why are you coming here looking like a bushwoman? So basically, in Nigerian terms, looking uncivilized and just not right. And she said she couldn't say anything. She looked at him and just said, I'm sorry, sir, and walked away and never went back. So these are the things that can happen to, stop you from having a livelihood. Or once I went into a shop and there's this lady serving, she had it was a clothes shop, beautiful Afro hair. And I told her, your hair looks lovely. She said, yeah, but you need to tell my manager because he said I shouldn't come back to work with this kind of hair. And I am not coming back here, And again, she now has to sacrifice her livelihood. So there are so many ways in which they want to force us to just conform or to do things that make them uncomfortable. And for me, that was my way of, putting my middle finger up to racism. Yeah. So you have to think of your why. Why do you want to go natural? Is it your health? Is it the fact that you want your hair to grow better? Because chemicals and excess use of wigs will break your hair. It will stop your hair from growing, and it could actually kill your follicles where you would become permanently bald. So is that your motivation? Whatever is your motivation, think about your why. But also, I will say, and I'm sure, Yomi, you would like this, think, I am enough.
I am enough. I am enough. The word for today.
When you start feeling the doubt, oh, am I good? You will look good. You are much more beautiful than you ever believe. And with your natural hair, you will. And if there's anyone that doesn't accept you with your natural hair, then they're not worthy of you. Yemi, I want understand that you are still okay. And I think once you get to that place where you're okay with your natural hair, then you'll be able to take the journey. And things are always difficult when we don't know. So if you're new to natural hair, you don't really know how to take care of it. You're not used to that process. So it will become difficult. It will be tricky. But once you know it, it'll be so easy. I could do my hair with my eyes closed with one hand and I'm fine. But in the beginning, it wasn't. So if you're patient, you will get there, and you'll be surprised that maybe a year, 2 years down the line, how easy this is, and you think, oh, I can't believe I found this difficult. It's like someone who is 5 years old. You tell them 1 plus 5, they're like, oh God, that counting is so difficult.
Yeah, exactly.
But when you have learned it so long, then 1 plus 5 is 6. It's so easy.
Exactly.
So what you don't know is difficult. So because you don't know, that's why it's tricky. But once you get to know, it would be easy. So if you just hold on and stick to it for your benefit of your health, benefit of your self-esteem, people will respect you more. I'm telling you. Well,
Fantastic.
I believe so.
Yeah,
Good luck.
I hope you're taking that advice. It's amazing from Lekia this evening. Okay, and I'll take another question. Michelle from Hendon says, how did others, like family, friends, and colleagues, react to your decision to go natural? What was their response? What was your response to them, and how do they feel now?
Well, like I said earlier, I got 6 brothers. Actually, funny enough, my brothers, because I think 5 of them are younger than me, so they dare not.
They dare not.
They dare not say anything. I say, hey, shut up, I'm your sister.
You know, I'm an older sister.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like my mom couldn't understand it, so she was like, why is your hair like this? I said, because this is how God made my hair. I know that's the language that she will understand, so that's what I said. She said, okay, I know, but I said, no, why do I have to use chemicals on my hair? No, I like my hair as it is. And it took her a while. Now she would, when she has her hair out, because she normally just braids her hair now, she would send it to me and say, oh, look, Lekia, I'm sure you like my natural hair. And I'm like, yes, I do. But it took her a while. You know, just people around me. Now, you know, the old school Nigerians, let me put it like this way, old school Nigerians look at people from the Caribbean in a particular way. And so I'll go for a party with my Nigerian friends, and people say, well, Lekia, why is your hair like this? It's not, why? They just couldn't get it. And then one of my friends said, look, Lekia, do something. People are going to think you're Jamaican. That's just so terrible. But again, my conviction was so strong, and I just felt it would only be a matter of time before people get to understand. So I think your conviction has to be really strong. You're doing it for yourself. And the funny thing is, when you stand up for what you believe in, people begin to respect you for it. And with time, you know, they even forget that one time they didn't like it. They will begin to like it. They will begin to accept it. I think it's just to hold on. Again, like I said to Yemi, be patient with the people around you.
Exactly.
They too are not used to it. They too don't understand, you know. They too are influenced by what's happening outside. If it's close family, they probably want what's good for you. They understand the discrimination that you face, and they don't want you to be hurt. But you have to stand your ground. And if you have a conviction, if you're really convicted within you that what you're doing is the right thing to do, then you know you will bring them over to your side with time
and let them know I am enough.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, and you know, just you can also go on our website just to feel encouraged. Go on YouTube, look at other YouTubers that will share their stories, or just look at go to Pinterest, you know, and just look at the beautiful styles that you can get with natural hair. There's so much online now that you can look at just to encourage yourself, just to keep you going, because if you're not used to it, you will need that encouragement.
Amazing. Okay, it's been an amazing show. I've had so much fun. But before we say bye-bye to Lekia this evening, I want to know, if you could have a conversation with your younger self, what would that conversation be?
Oh, wow. It depends on how far we're going. I'm an elderly woman here, you see. So, are you saying teenage, child?
Any way you want to start from, it's your choice.
Okay, let me say late teens.
Okay. What would that conversation be?
It would be very different from now, because at that time I was very insecure. I felt I was ugly. because people did tell me that. So I grew up in Nigeria, so people would say my mom's light-skinned, and so some of my brothers are light-skinned. And the brother just after my immediate younger brother is quite light, and so people would say things like, it should have been you. You should have been the light one. You should have been the dark one. They say, sorry, things like that. And, you just grow up and you just accept it. You go into the market and people are teasing you, calling you blackie and things like that. So you kind of like, I kind of internalized it. And it's funny enough, my career was in the media, and I went to the media. I was actually on TV and stuff. And it's funny because I think back to myself, I did believe I was ugly, but I just went on TV anyway, because a lot of people will not go on TV thinking that they're not that good looking. And people would see me and say, oh God, you did look nice on TV. You look really dark, So I was insecure. So if you're having a conversation with me now, I probably would be, making excuses for what I'm doing, trying to get your approval. I probably, if you compliment me, I'll probably dismiss it,
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'd probably be so nervous that we wouldn't have an interesting conversation. Yeah, I don't know if I can answer your question. But
so I think you've answered the question. I think the answer to the question is be more brave. Don't pay attention to what people are saying. Do what you.
Yes.
I am enough. Again, I am enough.
If I had that message when I was younger, say I am enough. I think yes. Certain things that happened to me wouldn't have happened, or I would have learned certain lessons much quicker.
Amazing. Okay, Tell us a fun fact here on Double9Radio that no one knows about Lekia. That fun fact, exclusively live on Double9Radio.
Oh, what fun fact? I don't know if it's fun. I don't know if there's any... I'm always embarrassing myself, like family parties, because I love to dance.
I mean, yeah, it's fun. You love to dance, isn't it? You love to dance. What can I say?
You need to see me, man, shaking everything that God gave me.
But, you know what I mean?
I think the fact that people, I never ever mentioned it, but when I sleep, I like to have my ear covered.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why. Even if my whole body is not covered, my ear has to be covered. I just feel safe.
Wow.
It must have been something from my childhood. I don't know.
I mean, that's
the first time I've ever said that. Double9Radio.
Exclusive on Double9Radio. You heard it here first. She loves to cover her ears when she sleeps. That's the only thing, But again, Lekia, I want to say great having you on the show. I've had an amazing time, one of the best interviews I've had to conduct with our royal guest, Lekia of Project Embrace. But before you go, can you share, details about Project Embrace, your website and your Instagram page or any social media where individuals can go, although we'll still be sharing that when you do give us that information as well. But, do share with our listeners this evening as well.
Yeah, I was just going to, when you were saying your goodbye, I was going to say, wait, I need to share. So it's a good thing you asked. So website, visit the website, see what we're doing. We're updating it, so we don't really have information for this year on, but it's projectembrace.org.uk. So Project Embrace, all one word, .org.uk. And but if you want to know what we're doing from day to day, week to week, you can go on our social media. Instagram is @Project Embrace. So at Project Embrace, you will see Project Embrace, and in brackets, I am enough. So it's us. Twitter as well is Project_Embrace. Facebook is Project Embrace UK, and the same thing with LinkedIn, Project Embrace UK. Or you can follow me on LinkedIn, Lekia Lay, on LinkedIn.
Fantastic.
Lekia, Lee with an accent.
At the top, or just look on Double9Radio's Instagram page, and you can find a handle on there as well. It's been amazing. It's been great. I've had such a great time on the show. I'm really pleased you took time out. And I do apologize for making you skip dinner this evening. I'm sure it's waiting for you somewhere to go.
My dinner's gone cold now.
No. We must have a virtual dinner sometime soon.
6 or 7 o'clock.
Sometime soon.
But thank you so much. Thank you for having me, Yomi. It's been really interesting. You're a great interviewer. I really enjoyed the conversation.
I'm glad
you asked me questions that really got me thinking. So I really appreciate it. I really enjoyed it, and I hope all your listeners enjoyed it too as well.
Thank you very much. But before you go, do you have any, words to our listeners out there to remember Lekia by that you came on the show?
Oh dear. Just remember, anytime you're in doubt, say I'm enough.
Amazing.
And if just remember Lekia said, I am enough. Because sometimes it helps when someone else validates you. So, even if you're not feeling it yourself, just Lekia said, I am enough. Because even when I used to feel, a bit shaky and not confident in myself, I grew up with really loving parents, but by the time you go into the outside world, people start to treat you differently and you start to doubt yourself. I remember my dad telling me, you can do anything. You can do anything. And so he would just be vibrating, just resonating in my head. I'm like, why is he saying that? And so when I started to venture and take risk, I just remember him saying it. Even though I didn't believe it, I believed him. And that helped me through. So sometimes you just have to believe somebody else to help you. And
Amazing.
so just know that you're enough. And if you don't believe it, just remember that Lekia said that.
Amazing. Lekia, I want to say great word of advice there. And again, have a fantastic evening. And I wish you all the best in the future. And I'm sure President Brace, we're going to be hearing more much more soon as well. And ladies and gentlemen, do run to the website and make sure you enter that competition of being on the billboard.
No, the competition is closed now. Sorry,
it's closed. But anyway,
but they can still follow the progress.
You can still follow the progress. It could be you next year as well. So,
Yes, it could be next year.
Get ready as well. Again, have a great evening, and I'm sure we'll speak to you soon. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Anytime. Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.